How's it going, everybody? Doing another little video here. Still got my SAR k12 Sport with probably another 2,000 or 3,000 rounds through it since I did the last video. I just wanted to review a couple of things. I made a couple of changes. So as you can see, I made the jump to the dot. I put a trijicon SRO, which I know that they quit making them a year ago or so, maybe a little more. And it was quite difficult to hunt this one down. One of the local gun stores had it. It was about the only gun store in a 100-mile radius that had one on the shelf. All the other stores didn't have any. They didn't know when they were going to get any. So when I called and they had this one, I quickly ran and picked it up. I've got about, I want to say about 1,300 rounds with the trijicon SRO. But my video today is not reviewing the trijicon SRO. There's numerous videos out there reviewing it. They've been out long enough. I don't need to do a review on it. I'm nobody special anyways. What I do want to touch bases on is how I mounted the SRO to the slide. I did not get it cut. I did not cut the slide. The reason for that is I didn't want to cut the slide. This gun I'm shooting kind of temporary as I'm trying to make a jump to a full-blown open division race gun. So I want to use this SRO on my next gun without, not being able to run stock sights on this gun when I'm done with the SRO. So what I did is I found an EGW, makes a dovetail sight plate mount, an AA super sight that is supposed to fit tanfoglios. Number of different tanfoglios. I know it's tanfoglios that don't have a fixed rear sight. It's like the bomber adjustable sight or something along those lines is what they call it. Pretty much, I took the rear sight, loosened up the set screws, pushed that fucker off. In order to get this to fit, I had to do a little fabbing. I had to file the front edge of the mount right here to get it to clear the slide. I also had to do a little filing on the mount to get it to clear the rear of the slide. That took a little finessing. And now the plate material is aluminum, so it wasn't that hard to take some material away. As I stated in the first video I made, I am a power sports technician. I'm a professional technician. I believe in fixing things right the first time in a timely fashion. So I had to file down the front and rear edges in order to get it to clear. And I took a little more meat than I wanted to, but I also didn't want my tolerances being really tight. I've got a small gap between the front of the plate and my slide, and a small gap between the rear of the plate and the slide. I had chatted with a couple of different people about this idea before I went ahead and did it. A couple of guys said it was the worst thing I could ever do. Absolutely worst thing I could ever do was to get this plate on a dovetail mount. And if I wasn't cutting the slide, then it was never going to work right, and it was the stupidest idea ever. But I'll tell you right now, again, I'm nobody special, but I run my guns really hard. There was nothing wrong with a dovetail sight mount. Absolutely nothing wrong. I was kind of nervous when I ordered it, I wasn't sure if it came with a hole through the middle of it for a set screw. The pictures didn't really show a top view, but as soon as I got it, which was no big deal, if it wasn't there, I was just going to drill a hole and thread it for a set screw. As soon as I got it, first thing I noticed, there's a hole, thread, set screw in the package, everything was there. So I had thrown a little bearing lock compound on the set screw. Product made by Loctite. It's Loctite 680. It's probably a little overkill for that set screw, but I didn't want to play any games. I didn't want to chance anything moving. Now it was really tough to push that plate onto that slide, to the point where I think I would have been okay if I didn't use any Loctite. However, I'm a fan of Loctite. I believe in it. I trust it. I've got about 1,300 rounds through this gun since I put the plate on. I've not had a single problem. I've not had a single problem with the sight. The sight has never lost its zero. I don't really plan on taking the sight off until I have a new open division full-blown race gun. Now what I did do is I put Honda lock number 2 on the screws from the SRO to the plate. Honda lock number 2 is what's readily available to me at my dealership that I work at. It's an orange in color. What I did do is I Honda lock 2'd the screws from the SRO to the plate. Once I had the screws installed, and I believe I torqued them anywhere, I think it was like 12 to 15 inch-pounds. I think I had set them at 15. I hit 12 on the torque, and I was like, screw it, I'm going to send it to 15. So I believe the screws are at 15 inch-pounds. Once I torqued the screws, and I double-checked them a couple of times, I went ahead and I applied some nail polish to the heads of the screw, and just enough to where it would kind of overlay into the sight itself. Not so much where it crept into the battery cover crevice and got on the O-ring for the battery cover. So I did that on both screws. Once that nail polish dried, I went ahead and used a different nail polish. And I only say nail polish because one of my coworkers who I shoot with, his wife, had some nail polish sitting around and asked if I could use it. I wanted a bright color for my witness marks so I could easily see if the screws have loosened on me during shooting with just a quick glance. So what I did do is I made some witness marks on the screws. Now how I did that is I took a paper clip and I dipped it into the nail polish and then gently, easily, quickly swiped it across the head of the screw and a little bit of the sight. Just a little bit. I'm very particular and I'm very attention to detail orientated. I didn't want a whole bunch of different colored paint, and I didn't want to use a Sharpie. I didn't want to use anything. I wanted to use something highly visible and very quick, and something that I know will work. Nail polish will work for many different things, depending on the application, depending on what you're trying to do with it. That's about all I have on the sight mount. Is I want to give credit where credit's due. EGW's red dot mount for the Trijicon RMR, SRO, Holosun 407C, Holosun 507C, works great. Haven't had any problems with it. And to the people that I had chatted with before I did this, saying it was the worst idea ever, they couldn't be more wrong. And again, I went this method because I want to be able to take this SRO off, put it on my next gun, push the plate off, and push the stock sights back on. That way I can shoot this gun with stock sights if I want to. The plate is aluminum. I believe it's like 7075 grade. It's black. It's pretty sleek. I'm not going to lie. It's sleek. It doesn't really hang up. It doesn't cause any problems. I don't see it having any issues in the near future. So that's all I have about the EGW sight mount. The other thing I wanted to go over is I performed a little undercut on the frame and a little bit up underneath the trigger guard. I wasn't really sure what I was looking for. It seems to work pretty well. I took a grinder to it, started grinding material away. Once I got all the material off that I wanted, I took some sandpaper rolls on a small Dremel and touched up all the edges. Got everything pretty much symmetrical. Once the sanding was done, I went to town with a polish wheel. A couple of different grit polishing compounds. I had some white, some gray, some red. I don't really know what they call them. I don't know the difference in the grits. I just have a couple of different pastes at work. So that's readily available to me. I polished it up real nice. Real nice. You guys probably won't be able to see this as well as I can see it, but it's okay. It seemed to help. Whether it truly helps or it's more of a mental thing, I'm not 100% sure. But I feel like I can get a little bit higher up on that grip with the dominant hand than before I made this undercut. Just little things that I'm doing to improve. To also kind of show you guys that if you're somewhat mechanically inclined and you have the tools available and you're very attention to detail mindset, you don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars and have somebody do it. You know, a couple hours of labor, which no big deal. And, you know, the tools, the right tools, you can pretty much do what you want. You don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to get a sight put on your gun. I went to one place locally just to check to see kind of what they were going to charge me and how long it was going to take them to cut this slide. Well, I was interested in getting the sight directly mounted to the slide with no plate, a direct mount. Well, I took it to them and they said, oh, we're going to have to use this mount, this mount plate, and bolt the sight to that. I said, okay, fine, how much is that plate? They wanted to charge me $300 for that plate and $285 to cut the slide. Well, there's almost $600 in itself. And at that point, I didn't even have the sight. And the sight's roughly $600. I got a deal on it. Let's just say it's $500. Well, they wanted $500 and some odd dollars to cut the slide and put this plate on, plus the sight. So I would have been looking at $1,000 to make this happen. This EGW Super Sight mount was $50. Paid like $12 in shipping to get it in a couple of days, and it works great. And the beauty of it is when I'm done running this in the competition, I can take this side off, push the plate off, push the stock sight back on, throw it in the safe, it's ready to shoot. No big deal. I don't always have to keep a red dot on this. It's really all I got for you. I hope these videos that I've been making aren't too boring. I'm just trying to give some good educational, honest reviews of some products that I've stress tested as hard as I possibly can. And I shoot 200 to 400 rounds every week, like clockwork, specific days of the week, every week, week after week. I run this gun hard. I run other guns hard. Everything that I own, I want to run hard in practice So A, when I need it in a self-defensive situation, I know it's going to work. I know it's going to operate properly. And B, when I'm running in competition, I know it's going to work. I know it's going to operate properly under any sort of a load, whether it's time, how fast I'm running it, how long I'm running it, fast, etc., etc. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you can maybe find some useful information in this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'm not opposed to learning any new information, as I love learning and I love information. I take all the facts that I can and then make a decision off of everything that I've known and put together. What I do not want to see is any sort of hate, slander, anything negative. This is just supposed to be a positive, helpful video that I am always open to take some positive and helpful information back from my viewers. Thank you.